So how many of you believe that Allyse is a good closer? She is. But I'm going to tell you something you didn't know. You ruined my line, Allyse. I'm a better closer than she is. I got her to marry me. All right, how many of you want to know how to make money in this business? All right, well, you make money in this business by doing all of the things that Allyse was teaching you the last couple days. The comp plan, that's just an evaluation of the results of your work. Okay? So we're going to talk about it, and I really want you to stress this. All of you, I'm sure, or almost all of you, have already seen a presentation on the comp plan. Very possibly, if you're listening to the Daily Mentor calls, you've already seen my presentation of the comp plan, okay? I really just want to set a foundation, make sure that we're all on the same page, because the next presentation is about placements. And if you don't understand some of the basics of the compensation plan, it makes that harder to understand. Does this make sense to you?
Yep.
All right, so let's get into the comp plan. Now, it could be complicated. I mean, I could spend a couple hours up here talking about the compensation plan, but I'm going to try to do it in about 45 minutes, okay? Usually when I teach in a smaller group setting, we ask a bunch of questions. We don't have that luxury here to have all that interaction and have a ton of questions on the comp plan. But if you do have questions that are not answered, go find one of the Diamond Dashers. Where are our Diamond Dashers with your purple sashes? Can you just stand up real quick, Diamond Dashers? All of you? Okay, so if you have questions still about the compensation plan, they are more than qualified to answer any of your questions. All right? So, let's jump into this. There are 5 ways to make money with doTERRA. And I'm going to try to simplify the comp plan today. So we're just going to cover a relatively basic level. I will cover a few items that are a little bit more advanced, just so you're aware of them. But I'm also going to point out some ways that you can really simplify it when you're talking to new prospective builders or new people that just enrolled to build a business. Okay? So there are 5 ways to make money with doTERRA. They're all listed right here. You have retail profits, you have fast start bonus, you have the power of 3 bonus, you have unilevel, and then you have bonus pools, okay? So those are the 5 ways to make money with doTERRA. And we're gonna go into each of them individually. I just wanna show you, all of you have this in your workbook, right? So here on this slide, you can see retail profits, fast start bonus, and power of 3. I'm actually gonna talk about power of 3 last, okay? Because it's the most complicated piece of the compensation plan, but it's also very important for you to know. All right. Then on this slide, you see unilevel commissions. We're going to go into detail on that as well. And then you have your bonus pools. Okay? When Allyse and I first started doTERRA, we pulled up the comp plan, we were looking at it, and we saw this thing called PV. And we didn't know what that was. PV is simply your personal volume, calculated in points, okay? Some people wonder, why do we calculate it in points? Well, we calculate it in points for a number of reasons. First and foremost, it's a way that doTERRA pays their commissions, right? So notice LLV is not a 1-to-1 ratio. It's a little bit lower PV than you have dollars that you pay for it. And that's just so that they can protect their profit margin so that they can stay profitable. Do we all want doTERRA to be profitable?
Yes.
Absolutely. If doTERRA is not profitable, what does that mean? Our paychecks are at risk, right? And if it stays not profitable for long enough, then our checks disappear. And we don't ever want that to happen, right? So we want to make sure that doTERRA has good profits, okay? The other reason why they use a point system is it makes it a lot easier to calculate commissions internationally. So that if you sign somebody up in Mexico or in Europe or in Australia, you're still getting paid. Even though they have different currencies, you're still getting paid and you understand how you're getting paid, okay? Does this make sense to you?
Yep.
All right. OV is organizational volume. It's everything that you plus everybody in your downline purchases, no matter how deep they are. They could be on your 100th level, okay? No matter how deep they are, everybody in your organization, including yourself, count into your OV. Okay, that's important to know. Now, doTERRA has a minimum 100 PV order for you to make money. Okay, so if you don't pay your 100 PV order, then you're not going to get your commission check. That's important to know. Every once in a while, I remember in the early days, I was like kind of watching in the back office all of our leaders, just to make sure that they were all placing their own orders, right? And I remember one of our leaders just had an LRP order of 100 points, exactly, on the nose. Sometimes we do that, right? What's the risk of that?
Not getting her 600.
So, every once in a while, well, every month, doTERRA has 10% off this or 10% off that, right? So this particular month, Melaleuca was 10% off, and she happened to have Melaleuca on her LRP order. And so her 100 PV order just became a 98.2 PV order, right? And do you want to miss out on your commission? She was a gold, by the way. If you're gold making $3,000, $3,500 a month, would you want to lose your commission checks because of 1.8 PV?
No.
Absolutely not, right? So there's a risk if you have your order at exactly 100 PV. In fact, I teach all of our business builders and all of our sharers that if they want to maximize the compensation plan, they really need to have a 150 PV order. We teach that to everybody. In fact, at the very beginning, when we were enrolling people, we said, if you want to join our team, you have to have a 150 PV order. What I did on the document that shows the compensation plan, the one that I use in all of my PowerPoint presentations, I actually edited it, and I changed 100 PV to 150 PV. And that's what I was telling everybody, okay? Until one day Mark Wolford calls me up. And Mark Wolford and I have this running joke that every time that we talk, it's because he's mad at me for something. So anyway, he calls me up and he says, Patrick, I heard that you teach the comp plan. I said, yes. And he said, I heard that you use our comp plan document that we have. And I said, yes. And he said, I heard that you changed that document a little bit. And I said, yes. And he said, please stop. Because that's their document. But anyway, that's what we were teaching. Have 150 PV. Now, if you don't know why, this will be very obvious as soon as we talk about the power of 3. Okay? Which we'll talk about a little bit later. Okay, so now let's just jump into those 5 different ways. Do you remember those 5 ways?
Yes.
First one is? Retail. Second? Fast start? Power of 3 bonus? Unilevel. And the 5th? Bonus pools. Okay, great. Let's talk about fast start bonus. Oh, sorry. Let's talk about retail really quickly. I don't usually spend time on retail profits. Why? It's not residual. It's not that nobody buys retail. Some people do, right? But it's not residual. You guys want residual income, don't you? You want to be making money while you're sleeping, right? You want to be able to go on a vacation and still make money, right? You know, it's interesting because Allyse's older brother is an orthopedic surgeon, and he makes really good money. He probably makes about $800,000 a year, and there was a time when our paycheck was about the same size as his paycheck, and we were spending Thanksgiving together, and he knows what we do and everything, and he looked at Allyse and he said, you know, there's one difference between what you do and what I do. And she goes, oh yeah? What is that? And he says, when I stop cutting, I stop making money. What did he mean? If he's not doing surgeries, if he's not working, he's not making money. So he's sitting there at Thanksgiving dinner with us, not making money. We were sitting at Thanksgiving dinner, people were buying in China and wherever, right? So that's the difference between residual and non-residual. So retail profits, not residual, we don't focus on it, but just so you understand, you buy it at a lower amount, at a wholesale price, and you sell it at retail price. What are the reasons why you would want to sell something at retail price? I want you to think about that for a second. There's two main reasons. The first reason is, if you already have a store, a shop, a place like a brick and mortar place, okay? Let's say you're a chiropractor, or you have a health food store, or you sell herbs in a store, or you're a massage therapist, and you already have a place where actually people come in, and you're already selling some other products there. In that case, it makes sense to also have the oils and sell those. It could be a great way for you to find new people that are interested in the oils, right? Ultimately, your goal would be to get them signed up and buying on LRP, right? Because then it becomes residual, right? So that's the first reason why it would make sense. The second reason it would make sense is your neighbor down the street that says, I'm never gonna join doTERRA. I'm never gonna sign up in your MLM or whatever, right? So for that kind of person, are you gonna give it to them at wholesale price? No, don't give it to them at wholesale price, because there's a cost to you. First of all, you had it shipped to you, right? So you have a cost, a money cost associated with it. You also have a time cost associated with that transaction, because you have to go take that product, deliver it to them, collect the cash or collect the check, and then deposit, and if it bounces, you have a fee or whatever, right? So you have a cost associated in both time and money to deliver and sell that product to them at retail. Do not sell it to them at wholesale. But there's a better reason why not to sell it at wholesale than the cost involved. And that is, if you're selling it to them at wholesale price, why would they ever sign up? Ultimately, that's what you want. You want them to join doTERRA, right? So sell it to them at retail, and that way, if they continuously buy product at retail, periodically, at some point you say, hey Sally, you keep buying this product, you know that you'd save money if you just enrolled with a wholesale account and bought it on your own LRP. You could get free LRP points and so forth, and great advantage, right? All right, that's all I'm going to say about retail. Those are the two reasons why you'd want to use retail sales. Okay, let's move on. Fast Start bonus. If you enroll somebody, you make 20%. If they enroll somebody, you make 10%. If they enroll somebody, you make 5%. Does that make sense to everyone? It makes sense to you because you're familiar with the comp plan. How do you think that just sounded to a brand new builder or a prospect that you're talking to? They'll just say, what? And what happens when somebody gets confused? Their brain shuts down and they don't make a choice to do what you're talking to them about, right? So make sure that you are clear when you're explaining the comp plan. So I always like to do a little example when I'm talking to people about the comp plan, about the Fast Start bonus, okay? So I actually want 4 volunteers to come up to the stage, and I don't have any giveaways, sorry. I leave that to Allyse because she likes it. Okay, just come up, 4 people, the first 4 people up here. You won't need the mic. And if you're teaching this one-on-one or in a small group, then you don't need to have, obviously, people come up or whatever. I'm just doing that because of the large stage, but you can just use names on a paper or whatever. All right, so tell me your names. Kareen Nuala. So Kareen, Nuala, Dawn, Carrie. Kareen, Nuala, Dawn, and Carrie. All right, so let's say Kareen enrolls Nuala, and assuming that she has her 100 PV order, right? So Kareen enrolls Nuala, and Nuala buys a 100 PV order. How much money does Kareen make? $20, 20%, right? Nuala enrolls Dawn, and Dawn buys 100 PV. How much does Nuala make? She makes $20. How much money does Kareen make? 10. Now Dawn enrolls Carrie, and Carrie buys 100 points of product. How much money does Dawn make? 20. How much does Nuala make? How much money does Kareen make? 5. You got it. That's Fast Start bonus for you, okay? If you're teaching somebody brand new, that's all you need to do. You just need to add this and say, Fast Start bonus is paid for the first 60 days, okay? So for the which first 60 days? of the new person enrolling, right? So let's say Corrine enrolled in 2008 when doTERRA started, okay? And today, Dawn enrolls Carrie. Does Dawn get 20%? Yeah, absolutely, right? Does Corrine get her 5%? Absolutely, right? So the 60 days counts from the 60 days that Corrine, did I mess that up? No, Carrie, I did mess that up. That Carrie signed up, right? So that's all you need to know. That's the basic Fast Start, okay? Now there are some things that you will need to know about the Fast Start in greater detail. And that is, what if Corrine signs up Carrie and places Carrie under Dawn? Can you do that? Absolutely you can do that, right? Remember, when you're signing somebody up, and this is going to be critical when we're talking about placements, there's two questions. Who the enrolling sponsor is and who the placement sponsor is. Why do they use sponsor both times? I don't know. We just call it the enroller and the sponsor, right? So who's the enroller? The person that's signing them up, right? If you're signing somebody up, you're the enroller. You're the one that's going to get the 20% Fast Start. But you can place them wherever you want. So let's say Corrine enrolls Carrie, so she's the enroller, but she places Carrie under Dawn. Who gets the Fast Start? Corrine gets 20%. So just Dawn and Nuala get nothing, right? Okay, so Corrine gets 20%. Who gets 10%? Whoever enrolled her. So if I enrolled her, I'm getting 10%, right? And if, well, whoever enrolled me, Teresa Harding, she would get the 5%, right? Does this make sense? All right. Now, one other question that often comes up is, what if, let's say Dawn enrolls Carrie, but Nuala does not have her 100 PB order. She's not buying product currently. What happens now? So Dawn enrolls Carrie, Carrie buys 100 points. How much does Dawn make? $20. How much does Nuala make? Zero. She doesn't have her qualifying order. How much money does Corrine make? She makes 5. Where did the 10% go? Back to Allyse? Oh, that would be fun. No, it goes to the company, okay? So this is what we call breakage, where the company actually collects commissions that otherwise would be due to somebody else, okay? But they just didn't qualify for it, okay? Now, doTERRA almost has no breakage. This is where doTERRA has breakage, okay? Some companies have breakage everywhere. If somebody doesn't qualify, then everything goes back to the company, right? Anyway, so why do they do that? Why do they make the company get that? When we're talking about unilevel, there's dynamic compression. Well, I'll say a few words about that later. When it comes to unilevel, if somebody doesn't qualify for their order, it doesn't go back to the company, it goes to the next person up. But in Fast Start, it doesn't go to the upline, it goes to the company. Well, I'll tell you, every once in a while, somebody would come along, let's say Nuala in this example, would call the company up and say, hey, I never got my Fast Start bonus for Carrie who just signed up. And the customer service agent will say, hey, let me look up your account. She looks into it and says, well, you don't have your qualifying order, so you don't qualify to get Fast Start bonus. And she says, well, nobody told me that I needed to have an order to qualify for Fast Start bonus. And the customer service agent says, well, you have a bad upline. Sorry, Corrine. No, they don't say that. Well, they would just explain that she needs to have a qualifying order. And they say, if you want to place a qualifying order, then we can retroactively send you your Fast Start bonus, okay? It is nice. doTERRA is very, very nice.
Yeah.
They'll do that one time. If you try to do that twice,
Too bad.
shame on you. Yeah, they keep records of these kinds of exceptions. That's kind of a one-time exception for you. But really, all of you should know, right? Okay. Any questions about Fast Start bonus? I said I wouldn't take questions. Go talk to your Diamond Dashers. All right. Great. Thank you very much for your help.